So I'm live, sort of. The screen is so deceiving. It says live and then time starts. It's just very confusing. And then at the end, it's like it says end, and then you have like a 10-second delay. It's kind of nuts. Today was a crazy day, overwhelmed in every direction possible. Um, just a lot today. It was a lot from, hey, Rhonda. It was a lot from a lot of different directions. Today just felt like one of those days where I just couldn't get out of my own way. Uh, I had a relatively good morning. Um, got a lot accomplished this morning. Uh, Scheduled what I thought was going to be dentist appointments for my kids tomorrow, but apparently they decided to close the dentist office because of COVID. Um, so that got pushed back a few weeks. It was just a lot from all different directions today. Like I felt like every time I started making progress, I just got kicked in the face again. And it was just it was just one of those days where you're just overwhelmed, right? And I meditated. I got centered. I started the day out centered. Um, I really just I put it to practice today. I helped a bunch of people today. I had a couple of great phone calls today, and it just wouldn't stop raining out. I wanted to get to the park. I wanted to. Yes, yes. It just happens, right? Like you have those days where everything just collapses down on you at times, and you just feel like there's so much pressure you don't know how to get out of it. Kenny, how you doing, buddy? No, it's not. I'm actually going to be shaving tomorrow night. Well, maybe tomorrow morning, depends how awake I am. Um, I don't want it back for right now. I kind of like it shaved. But today was just a day where I couldn't get out of my own way. And I started going back to old habits and getting in my head and overanalyzing and really overthinking so many details of so many things. Um, and it was a lot. Yes, Rhonda and Kenny, new buddies. It was a lot today. Like, no matter how far I go and no matter how much progress I make, I think thank you, Rhonda. I don't know, you and Kenny might have to battle that one out. Kenny likes when I have my beard, so um it was one of those days. It was rainy, it was crappy. I wanted to get outside. I'm finally feeling better. The kids are feeling better. We've been stuck in the house for over a week. Like it was time to go outside and just get some fresh air, and there was just no relief, right? And Kenny saying hi back. There was just no relief. There was no break. There was no like I just couldn't breathe a lot of today, right? And then after a while, I was just getting very overwhelmed. Um, my kids were like Velcro. No matter where I went, I couldn't get away. I couldn't even go to the bathroom and hide like I normally would because I'd have one come from one side, one come from the other. It was just, I think we've just been in the house too much and too long. I don't know, Kenny. You're gonna have to answer that one, bud. Um, it's it's one. I think these days happen, right? And there's no rhyme or reason for them. Everybody has bad days. Everybody has down days. Everybody. I guess the key is when you have your down days, that they're not as down as your previous down days. When you have your good days, they're better than your old good days. And I think that's the progress, right? I think that's the slow progress, right? And when you get that little bit of doubt, because I'm this overthinker and overanalyzer, I go nuts with it and I create these narratives in my head and I start freaking out and start second guessing myself in every direction. And it gets so frustrating. Little yawn. Apparently I'm tired. Definitely going to bed early tonight. Do you think we affected in the same ways during the same point? I do, yes. I think that there's a connected source, right? And when we're tapping into that source, I think it's possible that multiple people that are like-minded, that come from the same foundation, same grouping, um, end up in that same place. Yes, yes, I did. I created my own chaos. Yes, yes, Kenny. I definitely did. Um, I guess that's an improvement, right? Nobody else created it for me, so it's a step in the right direction, but self-aware enough to stop it. So that's good. Um, sometimes when you get close to people, right? And I have my circle, and I feel like when that circle has an off day, everybody feels it, right? And it's one of those things where this collective group that's working towards collective goals and collective ideologies and collective mindsets for themselves, for each other, for the bigger picture. I think it's tough, right? When one person's having a rough day, I think it does affect everyone. And I also think that, when, you know, let's Rhonda's having a bad day, right? So if I'm reaching out to Rhonda and she's already having a bad day, then it's going to make Rhonda's day a little bit harder, right? Because she can't be there for me the way that she wants to, or anyone else in the circle and in the group, right? And I believe that's part of it. Yes, Kenny, that is true. But I've redirected a lot of my energy towards elevating those around me and elevating my version of, not my version, but my collective of humanity, right? I'm redirecting a lot of my energy towards that because I really believe in it. And I want this world to be a better place for my kids. Um, yes, 100%, Rhonda. It is a good group. Um, I think Kenny, I think part of it is, yeah, I'm busy, you know what, and I could not take the time out, but I think it's important that my kids see that I'm taking the time out to help others. I think it's important that my kids see that I'm taking out time for myself. I think it's, you know, I it was funny, like today at one point I was really overwhelmed, and my son, with all his trauma and everything that he goes through on a daily basis, as long as he's fed, because he gets very hangry, if he's not, or doesn't eat at the right times, or goes too many hours without food, um, like he came up to me and said, "Dad, go relax for a few minutes," and I think because they're watching me do these things, it's impacting them and wanting that they're wanting to enforce these things, right? And they also know that I'm just in a better place when I do these things. They're learning from me as I do these changes, and I think it's important to instill that in them. So even if I'm busy, I will stop to help somebody. Even if something's going on and I can pick up the phone and just be there, I will. I think that's a very important quality. Yes, Kenny, that is 100% true. Taking time for myself is very important. It's definitely routine and regimented. The days that I don't do it are definitely worse than the days that I do. Um, a day like today where I did it and it was still a rough day would have definitely been a lot worse if I didn't take that time. So I agree with you. I even got like a 20-minute nap on the couch sitting straight up while my kids were watching TV. So that was interesting. Trying to get back into my early morning routine now that I'm feeling better is a big part of this, right? So I definitely see where that's playing a role of me getting back into this routine. Uh, they're learning empathy, but it's even more than that, right? Yes, they're also, my son understands energies and aligning themselves. My oldest doesn't really. My 3-year-old, she's hysterical because whenever I meditate, she jumps on top of me, just lays there. She wants to participate, right? And if I'm meditating with somebody else, she wants to participate. She's a little she's a little healer, that little one. It's so impressive to watch her, and just to feel how she empathizes with who's ever on the phone, right? Like it was Annie's birthday today, and she made a point to come in the room and say happy birthday to Annie. Oh, there you go. That's huge. I didn't really have that opportunity. My son, I did. I taught him a lot at a very young age. because he got tormented like I did with nightmares and everything. So we used to have lots of overnight conversations because I used to tell him to wake me, and we would talk, um, because he had the same situations I did when I was a kid. But I definitely see the bigger picture here, and something tells me I'm gonna have to go soon because my kid. So apparently, bedtime's not going as planned. Um, I don't think I've done that yet during a live. I actually had to actually put you on mute to go deal with the kids. That's kind of a new one for me, but not shocking. Maybe shocking that it took so long. But it is what it is, right? When you're a single parent, you do what you got to do. 13-year-old is very special. We understand. I have a whole tribe up here. And Gilligan is the skipper. That's awesome. Maybe Kenny wants to come down there and visit. Maybe Kenny, you want to get out of Texas for a little while? Maybe it would be a good trip for you, Kenny. She's out in Jamaica. It could be a Jamaica's a pretty beautiful place. I've been there a few times. I love it. Went there on lots of different cruises, and it's a very relaxed environment. And we'll end the discussion there. Um, I think when you're looking at the bigger picture and when you're raising children, you've got to give them the options, right? Anyone is welcome. You're the best, Rhonda. You've got to give them the options. You've got to show them what's out there and let them make their own choices, right? I never want to be somebody who indoctrinate, somebody who forces anything on them. And I did make that mistake at one point, and I'm not going to do it anymore because I decided that's not what I want to do. I think that if we show them that you can be open-minded, show them that there's possibilities, show them what's out there, they can make their own decisions. So, and we'll just go from there. I think that's just an option. Um, but as far as today went, it was a very blah day. But I learned a lot today. I learned a shit ton about myself. And it wasn't a good day by any stretch. Today was a tough day all around. Like, I felt like every direction I went, it just wasn't right. I mean, I'm finally feeling better and I'm looking around. And yes, I agree 100%. I'm looking around and the house isn't as clean as I normally want it. And the laundry's backed up and dishes are backed up and everything's backed up. Uh, but I'm okay with that because there's only so much I can do. And at one point, it really overwhelmed me today. I really felt like I was getting suffocated from it all. I felt like I was slacking and I was letting everything down and just like I was failing today. Um, and then after hours and hours and hours of overanalyzing, which I'm so great at doing, I came to the determination that I'm doing the best I could. Right? Like when I was sick, I had no energy. Uh, I was down and out. Like, I mean, I did everything I had to. I made sure they were fed. I made sure they were clean. I made sure that they went to. Um, I made sure that they did their stuff that they had to do. That they went to their appointments. Um, but it's about bouncing back, right? It's about showing them that you can overcome and just doing the best you can. Tomorrow will be great. I realize. Always, 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 always. It's an ebb and flow, and it bounces all over the place. It's great. Yes, today was a quicksand day. For me, it was a suffocation day, a drowning day. I think that's because I've almost drowned twice now in my life. So it's that is true. That is true. Always, we all are always doing our best, and even Kenny would agree with that. Wherever Kenny went, I know he's there somewhere. Kenny's a little quiet tonight. Um, but we're always doing our best, right? Like it's part of just surviving. Like even if you have a day where you just barely scrape by, you did your best with whatever you were dealing with. There's no judgment against yourself. And Rhonda, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Um, you know, when we're in such uncertain times, right? And we can describe that in a million different ways. But we are in extremely uncertain times, and Kenny is amazing. Love Kenny to death. He's awesome. Um, that everybody's going through their stresses. Everybody's going through everybody's going through their their issues and their turmoil and their frustration and their fears, right? It's so much insecurities going around, whether it's financial insecurity, job insecurity, um, just everything. And it's so easy to get sucked into it. It's so easy to get lost in it. Um, I think everybody just has their off days right now. The key to it is just having self compassion and accepting that you did the best you could. Uh, they're not all going to be great, and it could be a holiday, it could be a birthday, it could be whatever the best day that you're supposed to believe it is. But you know what? Each day has its own journeys. Each day has its own whipsaws. Each day has its own issues, and we can only do the best we can do, and that's it. Like judging ourselves doesn't get us anywhere, and it's very important. But I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to bed early tonight. That's a guarantee. Uh, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Rhonda, Kenny, thank you so much. And whoever watches it later, if you ever need anything, just reach out. All right. Have a good night.